Welcome to another edition of the Red Raider Spotlight. I'm Jared Johnson. I'm joined by the Mighty Joe Yeager. Well, Mighty Joe, this week, maybe we're tackling an obvious player here, but Behren Morton, we haven't spotlighted him this year. We even, Will Hammond, we did a video on Will Hammond when he was starting a couple of games. Before I dive into that, I do want to say, go to Red Raider Outfitter for all your double T gear, like this hoodie, this hat. They have several locations here, online, and then the new one in Plano. But going back to Behren, who, by the way, likes to hunt, wearing camo,
Yeah, that's right.
McGuire talked about he and some of the guys took some, like including his left tackle, Howard Sampson. Can you imagine? You're an animal seeing Sampson. He didn't need a gun. 6'8", 340,
How does he sneak up on a?
Yeah, how do you hide
anything,
Howard Sampson? Yeah, no kidding. That's a lot of camo, But going back to Behren, senior year, final regular season game at Texas Tech. He grew up here in Lubbock. His dad was a coach here in Lubbock. West Texan kid. He stayed here his whole career, though even he admitted he's had opportunities to go elsewhere. And here we are, an opportunity to punch a ticket to the Big 12 championship for the first time in program history. Just your thoughts about that game, and then Behren as a whole since he's been here, Mike Joe.
Yeah, first off, I think quietly, Behren has had a pretty darn good year.
Yeah.
The defense got a lot of attention, and justifiably so. We have seen, really good things out of the running backs, Kobe Williams and Cameron Dickey. They're getting a lot of publicity. Yeah. Behren has just kind of quietly gone about his business, but if you look at his numbers, man, they're really, really good. I think his passer rating is up around 163, somewhere in that neighborhood, which is very good. He takes care of the ball. He's not throwing it away.
Yeah.
Basically, as long as he's healthy, and he does seem to have maybe been recovering a little bit, looking better now than he was earlier with that lower leg injury. He's putting together a good year. And but the really interesting thing is his legacy.
Yeah.
As a Red Raider quarterback is going to be finalized here at the tail end of the season.
Yes.
I don't know whether you're going to put him in the pantheon with guys like, Graham Harrell and Rodney Allison and so forth, and my guy named Pat Mahomes.
Yeah, some guy.
Yeah.
He was pretty good.
Yeah, he's all right. You can easily forget about Pat if you're not careful. I don't know if you're going to put him in that category, but I tell you what, if he leads Texas Tech to a Big 12 title, and then, a deep run, in the playoffs or something like that, then he's going to be remembered for that.
Yeah.
Regardless
Absolutely.
of whether you consider him to be the most talented quarterback or what he does the next level or anything like that. He will be remembered with the greatest fondness and for a very, very long time. Texas Tech finishes out this season strong. And so that's, just from a personal standpoint for him, that's kind of what's on the line here.
I think that's perfectly stated, and why I wanted to do the spotlight on Behren going into this game, because you have these opportunities to make history as a program. You mentioned like Mahomes. It's unfortunate that he was paired with perhaps the worst defense in college football history.
No perhaps about it.
It was statistically, you look at every stat, and there are reasons for why that happened, but still, the bottom line is quarterbacks, ultimately, statistics are great. But when you talk about the best quarterbacks of all time, you talk about how many championships they have. And if Behren Morton is the first quarterback to lead his team to a Big 12 championship, he's going to be remembered as one of the all-time greats forever. I remember talking with Pat Mahomes Sr. when Patrick Mahomes was going to the NFL early, and he was curious, in my opinion, about Mahomes' legacy. And I said, look, he's going to be remembered as one of the best ever in terms of his talent and the stats, but due to no fault of his own, they just didn't win very much. It really wasn't his fault. Now, Mahomes, obviously, he's won a lot in the next level. He's poured so much of his time and money back into Texas Tech. He's always going to be remembered as a Red Raider, as an all-time great. So, but there is some revisionist history there where I think there's an opportunity for Behren to do something no quarterback has ever done at Texas Tech. And what an opportunity, Nigel.
Yeah, and he's fully aware of that. I have no doubt about it. And, he's been a steady customer all season long.
Yeah.
And I expect nothing less from him for the rest of the season. I think he's got the proper mental makeup to handle whatever gets thrown at him
Yeah.
from here on out. And assuming they take care of business in Morgantown, and then in the Big 12 title game, I think Tech will be the class of whatever opponent that may be. It's looking like probably BYU right now. But then the big deal is step up in competition once you get into the playoffs. At some point, if it works out right, you're going to be going up against one of these powerhouse teams out of the SEC or the Big Ten. And that's the point when it gets really, really serious. And we're gonna learn something a little bit from him in that sort of situation too.
Yeah, that's another great point. I mean, when, like you said, the competition ramps up and things are kind of getting canceled out in the trenches. The quarterback play really gets highlighted. Coordinator play, the X's and O's, and quarterback play, that chess match, and that all important quarterback position. But a couple of things I want to touch on too about his legacy. You mentioned his efficiency. He's been one of the more efficient quarterbacks we've seen in terms of not turning the ball over, and knock on wood. That's been tremendous. He hadn't been so concerned with stats. He seemed like he's just wanted to win and just stay on the field. That's another part of his legacy, is how oft injured Behren has been. And that's going to be key, obviously, for Texas Tech. I like Mitch Griffiths, but there's something about the senior leadership when Behrens out there and just who Behren is, that this whole team seems to play a little bit better when Behrens out there. So, one thing I do want to say about his injuries too is, he is actually tough. I've seen people question his toughness, but it's one of those where most people will be like, "Nah, I'm going to sit this one out," and he is like, "No, I'm going to play." To the point that McGuire's even said publicly and definitely behind the scenes, like, "Behren, no, sit this. We're going to sit you so you could actually get healthy." And that's kind of how we saw him miss 2 games this year. And now he's steadily getting, like you said, had the bye week, didn't have to play the second half of the UCF. Hopefully he's healthy enough to where we can see close to, we're not going to see it this year, but close to 100% Behren Morton, what he can do in these huge games that are just going to get bigger and bigger, Mike Joe. But great stuff from you as always, man. Thank y'all for watching, and until next time.